Good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Langard the Mic Live, where we're going to go over our Cowboys-Vikings postgame show here. And Team Tank is in trouble, guys. The Dallas Cowboys might actually be really good. They're walking that fine line right now of being a legitimate football team versus, being in line for a top draft pick because the Cowboys actually won a game 31-28 against the Minnesota Vikings. And so the way I'm going to do this show is I talked about in my pregame show a bunch of challenges that or questions that I asked the Cowboys or challenges that I faced for the Cowboys in this game that I wanted to see moral victories. And whether they were accomplished or not, it ended up being an actual victory. So anyway, we're going to get right into it. So starting right off the hop, I challenged the Cowboys offense, the passing game. How would the Cowboys wide receiver core do against the Vikings young secondary of Jeff Gladney and so on? And they were balanced. My answer is they were actually balanced. Amari Cooper had 6 catches for 81 yards. CeeDee Lamb had 4 for 34 with that spectacular catch on for the touchdown in the second quarter there. And he's also brought a lot of juice to the punt return as well. So I think, back when we had Cedric Wilson and Cole Beasley returning kicks all the time, CeeDee Lamb is night and day, or day and night, compared to Cole Beasley and what the Cowboys used to have it with Cedric Wilson, Cole Beasley back there. Gallup was 2 for 29, but he had some big drops in the game as well. So that's just like the 2 big drops that actually stalled drives, but he still made 2 pretty big catches as well. And Schultz had 4 receptions for 25 yards with a big touchdown at the end. So, and then my next question was Andy Dalton. How is Andy Dalton going to perform in this game after COVID-19 and the concussion? Well, you look at other NFL players that have been on the COVID-19 or have tested positive for COVID-19, and specifically Cam Newton. Also, you could throw Ezekiel Elliott into the mix there. And, there hasn't been you haven't seen players come back that well from being out with COVID-19, but Dalton was the opposite, in my opinion. I mean, he played like a really, really good game manager. He played like a veteran backup quarterback, like what you want to see in a veteran backup quarterback. He did miss some throws, but he also made, the really good throws that counted, especially with the game on the line. Finished with 203 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Like I said, he was also affected, obviously, by the big drops by Michael Gallup. And the interception that he threw over the middle, I can tell that it was his second check down option. But Eric Kendricks, the linebacker of the Vikings, made a heck of a play there. So, like I said, he played like a good backup quarterback, which is what he was signed to be. But he was not a good backup quarterback in the Washington game and in that Arizona game. But again, that was still at the point where the defense was getting gashed, but within the run game. Well, yeah, pretty much in the run game, both against Washington and Arizona. We'll get to the defense in a bit, though. CeeDee Lamb, like I said, unreal catch on that touchdown there, where he had to literally contort his body and keep his balance and still be able to track the ball all while going to the ground. Like, that was an amazing play. And also what I love about CeeDee Lamb, I don't know if it was just, I wouldn't say just in this game, but even in the games before, he would just take viciously massive hits. And he's still a relative kid right now, being a rookie at 6'2", just about 190, 200 pounds. So he's kind of lanky for now. He could still put on muscle, but he takes big hits, but he bounces back up like nothing happened. He's just a heck of a football player, and the Cowboys are just reaping the rewards with every game of having drafted him at 17th overall over Kayvon Chason or Damon Arnett or even Trayvon Diggs at 17 overall. And the Cowboys are lucky they got Trayvon in the second round. So now a big reason why the Cowboys actually were good on offense today and put up 31 points was, again, the offensive line was actually not bad. Why? Well, because they started Terrence Steele. They benched Terrence Steele and they started Zach Martin at right tackle and Connor McGovern at right guard. And I mean, look, like I said, the Vikings front is not, a vaunted front seven in terms of their ability to pass rush and get after the quarterback. But again, at least, Terrence Steele and it used to be Brandon Knight / Cam Irving on the tackle. they have been turnstiles before, but they weren't in this game because, I mean, Zach Martin at right tackle's an all-pro offensive lineman, and Terrence Steele's an undrafted free agent rookie who just can't pass block and he can't run block. So again, that I think that in that decision itself could have very well won Dallas the game, because I don't think Dallas would have put up 31 points if they had started Terrence Steele at right tackle. But anyway, so now that also the offensive line performance also plowed the way for a really strong running game. And that leads me to my next question I asked before the game. Can Zeke outrun Tony Pollard? So my answer to that is yes and no. I still think Tony Pollard outran Ezekiel Elliott. If you look at the stats, yes, Zeke, good on Zeke. Credit to him. He had his first 100-yard game of the season. He ran for 103 yards on 21 attempts, an average of 4.9 per carry. But I still think Tony Pollard and the 5 runs that he had, including the 42-yard touchdown, just Tony Pollard showed more whenever he touched the ball. So I find Zeke, look, great short yardage back, great at picking up 4 or 5 yards a carry, great at taking -2-yard runs into getting back into the line of scrimmage. But he's a very, very patient runner, lets blocks develop, and then, gets through the hole. But he still can't break tackles. He can't make people miss like he did in 2016 and up until I'd say 2018, because I don't think he was making a lot of people miss last year either. He had a couple of long runs though, an 18-yard run. I think it was that was his longest, and then a 13-yard run as well. But just as I was saying, hey man, Zeke is starting to outrun Tony Pollard here. That's when Pollard rushed for the 42-yard touchdown. So going forward, I would say for the Cowboys to be competent in the running game or consistent in the running game, I would say there should be at most or at worst a 60-40 split in carries between Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. Ideally 50-50, but maybe let's say 50-50 to 60-40. So so now let's go on defense. Now the big story coming into this game was, how are the Cowboys going to handle Dalvin Cook? And a lot of that would go on Antoine Woods, Neville Gallimore, Leighton Vander Esch, Jalen Smith. So my answer to that was I would say they did a really good job on Dalvin Cook for 3.5 quarters. I would say that was mostly due to the play of Neville Gallimore and Antoine Woods in the middle. But I do find Jalen Smith, again, got washed away a couple of times, missed a big opportunity to tackle for a loss. So Jalen Smith, again, whenever he makes tackles when he has to recover and he's out of position, and he makes good recovery tackles, that's how he leads the league in tackles, by being out of position, getting back into position, making the tackles once the offense already gained the yards they need. But then every time he has a chance to blow up a play and make an impact tackle, he just misses. So but Leighton Vander Esch, honestly, though, there was one play that Leighton Vander Esch made where he just shot the A gap in the middle and just absolutely bulldozed Dalvin Cook and prevented him from getting a touchdown on a third or on a second and goal in short situations. So again, look, Dalvin Cook, he finished for 115 yards rushing on 27 carries, but an average of 4.3. So it's not like he ran off for 50 or a 40-yard run or anything like that. So the Cowboys, really made Dalvin Cook earn his yards, which is good. He also had 5 receptions for 45 yards. We'll get to that in a bit, because my next question is the Cowboys on a pass defense standpoint. They got Chido Awuzie back, but lost Trayvon Diggs due to injury, of course, from the Pittsburgh game. So how will Anthony Brown, Chido Awuzie and Jordan Lewis cover Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen, and the tight ends Irv Smith and Kyle Rudolph? Well, it was tough. It was tough for them because Jordan Lewis did have that big pass breakup on 3rd down late in the game on Adam Thielen. But for the most part, look, Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson just burned Chido and Anthony Brown. I think it was there was Rashad Robinson, a practice squad corner that got elevated, who had to come in for a couple plays, and they just went after him with Thielen. So Jefferson had 3 catches, 86 yards, and that long touchdown reception. And Thielen made that spectacular one-handed touchdown grab and another touchdown catch, and finished with 8 receptions for 123 yards. So essentially, they just burned the Cowboys secondary, as was expected, I guess. And then my next question was, can the Cowboys make Kirk Cousins look like an average or below average Kirk Cousins? And I would argue that Kirk Cousins was an amazing game manager up until the game was on the line. He was Kirk Cousins was 22 for 30, 314 yards, 3 touchdown passes, and a rating of 140.1. So that's pretty friggin' good quarterback play, if you ask me. So the problem for me is on defense. Like they battled, they fought. Don't get me wrong, but for the Cowboys to be a good football team, again going forward, it has to be better. It has to simply be better because, the Vikings on third down were also 6 for 10. But overall, it's like, to me, what I'm hoping for in this defense is you either put a huge clamp down on the run. So don't let Dalvin Cook get to 100 and let Kirk Cousins throw for 300, 400 yards, but don't let Dalvin Cook be a factor, or Dalvin Cook can be a factor, but don't let, Kirk Cousins throw for over 200 yards. But we saw a little bit of both here. But that being said, it was good enough to win the game here. And we might have found a player in Donovan Wilson here at strong safety. Got another half sack, 2 forced fumbles, a huge hit on Dalvin Cook. I mean, look, is he a starting caliber strong safety at this point? I mean, he is right now. But the question to me is, can he do it consistently? Can he also not get burned like we've seen him get burned in previous games? So that was encouraging. But overall, my other big question was, how does a Mike McCarthy coached Cowboys team handle the bye week? And they were pretty darn good. They came out really hard to play. They came out and played really hard. That's what I meant to say. Because going into this game, Mike McCarthy coached teams. The Packers had a 9-4 record coming out of their bye when coached by Mike McCarthy. But and the Cowboys, like I said, they played winning football today. And I also love the way Kellen Moore called the game on offense. He called a great game. I loved all the pre-snap motion before each play. That design on 3rd and goal on the touchdown to Dalton Schultz. I think he had CeeDee Lamb motioning in across the formation, then back, and then that just confused the Vikings defense. And then you had, I think, Dalton Schultz run. Like I think there were 2 routes going over to the right side, and then Dalton Schultz sneaked back to the left, and he was wide open. And just again, that pre-snap motion play design was phenomenal by Kellen Moore, and that's where you talk about coaches scheming up touchdowns, and that was amazing to see. And the Cowboys, like I said, they just, at the end of the day, even though defense was they played hard, they fought, they battled, and it was ugly they got really ugly at times, but it was good enough to win the game. And also the Cowboys, they've been on the opposite end of this all season, but today they won the turnover battle. They won the turnover battle, and they got points off turnovers. So they forced the 2 forced fumbles. They got, there was the 3 forced fumbles. What was it again? I think it was 2-1, 3-1. But anyway, yeah, they won the turnover battle in this one. Double check that here. I just want to make sure I got that right. So there was 3 fumbles, but 2 lost. So yeah, so two turnovers by the Vikings. So they won, or I think, yeah, so they won the turnover battle by a bit, but they got, most importantly, points off those turnovers. And also the Vikings took a lot of penalties. Keep in mind, the Vikings took 8 penalties for 80 yards. So so look, like I said at the top of the video, Cowboys are just, they're in a fine state of just, top 10 draft pick or winning the NFC East and hosting a playoff game. And I think all those people that were cheering for the tank are just in a really, really tough position right now, because look, I mean, you got Washington coming in on for Thanksgiving on Thursday. Washington, by the way, beat the Bengals, and just a terrible injury to Joe Burrow. That's like essentially a Dak injury to Joe Burrow today. We got to wish him nothing but the best, and that he makes a speedy recovery. But to me, look, the Bengals aren't going to win another game this year, so they're going to pass you in terms of draft position. The Falcons lost today over against the Saints, even with Taysom Hill. The Browns beat the Eagles. The Eagles are just beyond garbage at this point. They might actually be the worst team in the division. Houston did beat New England, so that's good. Jacksonville wasn't going to beat Pittsburgh, so that wasn't going to happen. And then the Chargers did beat the Jets, so the Jets are just a lost cause. So again, I don't think that you can really hope for the Cowboys to tank that much more. I mean, look, if they beat Washington at home, which if they play the way they did today, they could beat Washington on Thanksgiving. And even with the way the Ravens are playing, could this Cowboys team actually go into Baltimore and beat the Ravens? Okay, I won't get maybe too ahead of myself with that, but if you're a Cowboys fan right now, it's really tough to choose what to cheer for. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Just we'll carry on and just, I guess, let's just hope for the Cowboys to win a Super Bowl in 2021, because it definitely won't happen this year. So yeah, let's just hope things happen the way they should for 2021. The Cowboys, contend in 2021 and play consistently the way they did today. And that's winning football on both sides of the ball, complementary football, defense being okay, maybe not great for the whole game or not even good the whole game, but being good enough to win. Offense, moving the ball on third downs. They're 5 for 11 on third downs and getting the big touchdowns when you need them, converting on your red zone opportunities, converting off points off turnovers. Yeah, that's winning football. And hopefully the Cowboys can do that more consistently. If not this year, then in 2021, because that's what we absolutely need. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this post-game show. As usual, give me a follow on Twitter and on Instagram. I'll include my handles in the link below at Mike Langer, and also donate to my Movember cause for suicide prevention, men's mental health awareness, and prostate cancer research. I'll include that in the link as well. But this has been a Cowboys-Vikings Langer at the Mike live post-game show. Thank you so much again for watching, and see you again next time.